Scorpio, the Scorpion. Here's your reading for October 2017. As a reminder, guys, this is a general reading, so please take what resonates and leave what doesn't. Also, if you would like to book a private reading, please see the description box with the link there upon how to obtain one. And also, guys, remember that these energies can cross over and the messages can cross over as well. So either this is coming from you or coming to you. So apply it to your guys' unique situation. So let's go ahead and bless the decks and we'll get started. Guardian angels of love and light, ancestors, lost and known in the seas of time, please intercede this reading to provide Scorpio with the clarity and direction as to which he or she seeks, and please grant me, the reader, the objectivity to read the cards and relay every single message as they are meant to be. Scorpio, you're coming into the reading with the World card reversed. There's definitely some unfinished business going on here. I don't want to say that you feel cheated out. Maybe you do. But I do feel like there's residuals left over. And I feel as though it's going to be hard for you to move forward without addressing these things. And I feel like once you do, it's going to relieve a lot of stress from you, a lot of emotional burdens or things that you've repressed. Now, with saying that, you could maybe be dealing with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. You could maybe be dealing with, I think that's all I'm really seeing right now. Okay. So thus far here, we have the World card reversed. We have the Queen of Pentacles in traditional tarot. Queen of Pentacles reversed, Three of Wands reversed, the King of Pentacles upright, the Ace of Swords reversed, the Eight of Wands reversed, and the High Priestess reversed. Now, back to what I was saying about unfinished business. I don't really feel, Scorpio, like it's unfinished business in the sense of you want to get even. I'm not really picking that up here. If I was seeing a lot of wands here, which, I mean, you have two in the center here, but I'm looking at this more of passion. If there was two more wand cards, like the Five of Wands upright or something, then I would say, okay, there's some contention going on or some ill thought processes going on. But I don't feel like that's really what it is. I feel like it's more like you have to, when I say unfinished business, I mean address a couple things. And I'm feeling like it's repression. Like things you kind of kept to yourself, or things that you may have, where am I going with this? Kind of a little bit confused in terms of how Spirit wants me to say it. Just unfinished business. But more of closure. There you go. Thank you, Spirit. More of closure. You're coming to the reading with the World reversed here. The World card is it's a karmic card, whether it's good or bad. But the World card here reversed, as I was looking at your spread and as I was shuffling for cards, Spirit all of a sudden popped that into my head, the unfinished business. And I was even wow, okay, I never looked at the World card kind of like that. I mean, semantics, closure not happening, but I think that that's more what they want to stress in this reading here. But like I said, I feel like it's not bad. It's just addressing a couple things. But there are some areas in this spread here that I would like to talk about. I feel as though, Scorpio, maybe you feel like you were maybe confined into a corner or into a circumstance where you kind of felt like you were emotionally and physically repressed. You couldn't you couldn't get out of it, or it was excuse me, it was like difficult to come out of this, almost like you're feeling trapped in a sense. But I feel like it's not like it wasn't a choice to be trapped. It was like just the way that things surmounted, the way that things transpired. Like it was just it was what it was. It was what it was, but it's not is what it is. Like, that makes sense. Kind of picking up on that here. And also, I feel like what's also interesting here too is we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and then we have the King of Pentacles upright, and the Three of Wands reversed right in the center. And both of your wands are in the center here. I feel like the environment, Scorpio, was not great. Whatever the case may be for you, or how this applies to your situation or your circumstance right now. And I feel like this is how you were. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, they're all reversed, with the exception of one card here, the King of Pentacles, or the King of Gardens. So when I'm seeing that, it's like the environment wasn't great, right? The environment had a lot of suppression. Like one was kind of making the concessions while the other party was not. And I feel like whoever this is for you, whether it's your energy or someone else's, I feel as though they were held down, really repressed. I'm picking that up heavily, like my shoulders are getting heavy, like, and I feel like you may have, through this process, or maybe you still may be, like beating yourself up for it, like saying, damn, I'm stupid, why did I make that decision, like I shouldn't have done that, like kind of discussing or going over with yourself maybe more of, you know, what happened versus where it went wrong. But I do see that you are coming out of that and you are looking at where it went wrong, for sure. I'm picking that up here for sure. But I do feel like, Scorpio, like going back to things needing to be addressed. I mean, the High Priestess reversed and the Ace of Swords reversed, like both those cards can entail or can speak of, you know, secrets, information being withheld, things not said. And that's where I feel like the repression's kind of coming in a little bit. But I also feel like, also from the other party, like things weren't spoken of, or maybe on the lines of maybe being ignored, and it turned into like repression, but it also turned into dishonesty. You know, like I want to say the quote of like more happens and less matters. Like that's kind of what I'm getting from it a little bit. And I feel like it's time now, or you feel like you are in a position now where you're moving forward, but before you can move forward and you can embody this King of Pentacles energy, which is a beautiful energy, there's some scars here that need to be vocalized. And I feel like if this doesn't happen for you, but like I said, I'm going back to, I believe it's just more like a vent, like just being real about the situation. If this doesn't happen, I feel like the karmic cycle won't end for you, because then you feel like you didn't have any closure, or you feel further more suppressed if you leave the situation without addressing this. And I feel like the High Priestess is here for you right at the end, because I feel like also it being below the King of Pentacles here, I feel like, yes, it's right, for sure. And I'm also picking up too, Scorpio, just kind of going on another little tangent, like you've been keeping this to yourself and you haven't really been talking to people about this, or you haven't really brought it up. So I feel like you're kind of still deliberating, going back and forth with yourself in terms of like, hey, how are you going to do this? Is it right? Should you do it? You know, that kind of thing. And I feel like you do need to, but it's all about timing, I feel. And I feel also like the High Priestess reverse is right below the King of Pentacles, because this is where you want to get to, and I feel like you are going to get here for sure. Yes, I see that, and I feel that very prevalently and strongly here. But I feel as though it's going to have to do with timing, and also being real with yourself and seeing what's really worth saying and what's really worth not, because more happens and less matters, right? And don't give your energy or your emotional stance on something if the other party doesn't really take it into consideration, or if they just don't really care. And also, Scorpio, I'm picking up on too, if you do decide to go through with this plan in terms of addressing this, if the other party dismisses it, prepare yourself for that ahead of time, so that if in the event that happens, which I'm hoping that it doesn't, but in the event that it does, you already knew that this was going to happen, so prepare yourself for it. But still be optimistic, of course, that it's going to turn out favorable, and that the other party or the second party is going to listen and take it in and imbibe it and assimilate it. But at the same time, prepare yourself for it, that if it doesn't happen, so that then if that happens, you're not triggered and all of a sudden then you're thrown off and your energy's off, and then all of a sudden it turns into anger, because I don't really feel like there's anger here. I just feel like there's it's like real talk, like that kind of thing, like for sure. I really feel like that here. And I also feel like with the Eight of Fire here reversed, or the Eight of Wands reversed, I feel like be careful in terms of how fast you move, or how fast I'm also picking up how fast this ambition comes and goes, in terms of all of a sudden if you get upset before achieving this King of Pentacles here, you may want to say it ahead of time, prematurely. And then I feel like watch out for that. Be careful, because then when the time comes when you're really serious and you want to address it, you may have already, if you do decide to do it before you achieve this King of Pentacles, the party's not going to take it. They're take it positively. They're going to take it like you already said that kind of thing. Take it negatively automatically. When maybe if you time it correctly, they may not take it like that. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like you need to watch out for that. Not watch out in a bad way, but just I feel like it's all going to be all about timing, Scorpio. I really feel like that. And I hate to say keep waiting, but wait for the right time so that it's it's absorbed and not ignored. I really feel like that's very pivotal right now for you in terms of getting your point across here. And I also feel like it's time to say what wasn't said. It's time to, open up the closet of hollow bones, whether that's yours or whether that's the other person's. I'm kind of picking up that's going to be both of your guys's. You're going to address both sides. And also, Scorpio, I kind of want to say I'm picking up too, you have to also prepare yourself in terms of what to say properly, because you have to take your end of the responsibility with this too. This perpetuated because there was a part of you that still stood and took it. You know what I mean? Whatever the case may be for you, whatever hindrances were in the way or blockades were in the way from moving forward, you still, you entertained it, in a sense. And I mean that constructively. But I also feel like be careful at the same time. I keep getting that from Spirit, to tell you timing. Be careful with the timing, I feel. And when I say be careful, I don't mean anything injurious is going to happen or anything bad is going to happen. It's just your final say, Scorpio. Do you really want it to be heard? And I want to say yes. So that's why I feel like the timing is everything. Time is of the essence, And I feel like that's what I'm getting from here. Because a lot of crap has happened and a lot of things were out of your control, which left you in a very berating environment, in a very despondent environment. But be careful how fast you move or how quickly you manifest this, and also watch your triggers, watch your patience as well, I feel. Now, going back to the High Priestess here, reversed, I feel like, once again, with the timing, but also using your intuition in terms of the timing, but just using your intuition in general. You're going to have to trust yourself, but you're going to have to also trust that you can say the right things when they need to be said, And I feel like with the Five of Gardens here, or the Five of Pentacles, I feel as though you don't want this feeling anymore. You don't want to be left out. You don't want to feel like the lady in the background here, like, just lonesome. You don't want to feel like you're on the floor anymore, because really, Scorpio, you're not on the floor. You have to learn the difference, or discern the difference between the ground and the floor. But I feel like this is an energy that you don't want anymore. And if you don't use your intuition and you don't use proper timing, I feel like this is where you might end up, but more with yourself, or disappointed in yourself for not doing it properly. Because I can see that this wasn't done properly, or the circumstances weren't manifested properly. The environment wasn't proper. So don't keep that going. You understand? Like, don't keep that theme going. Break that karmic cycle so you can say what you need to say, so that you can move on, and then we can turn the world card upright, where changes are coming and it's the end of something. But that's your choice. You're going to have to really discern that, and it's going to be real tough. Because Scorpio, your emotions run very deep. And it's not a bad thing. But they do, and sometimes they can get the best of you. They can get the best of all of us. But they tend to be more at the fore with water signs. They tend to be more readily available. They're right there. They're more evident. They don't, water signs don't have to dig so deep to feel something. Like maybe an earth sign, or maybe like a fire sign, you know what I mean? Even though fire as well, but I feel like that's kind of what's going on. And speaking of water energy, the Queen of Tides here, or the Queen of Cups. It's time, Scorpio, to create an environment for yourself where emotion can be expressed, but in a healthy manner, where people can talk about things. And it all comes from honesty. And even here, she is dumping the cup out here. But I'm looking at this, Scorpio, like dumping the residue, or the residual of hurt, the residual of compartmentalizing your feelings, dumping the negativity out. But once again, it's going to take work to get here. And I feel like you are. It's there. But you're going to have to embody and achieve the King of Pentacles first, and then this comes second. Because I feel like maybe right now your emotions are taking over the stability aspect. So we need to switch that, I feel. And that's going to take, or it's required, what is required is your intuition and timing and how you want to do it. It's a different way of thinking. It's a different way of doing things. And I feel like you may be ready for that different approach, because this approach before these two cards, it was it wasn't great. Look what happened, And it's funny, for your last kind of card here, we have the the Stranger of Fire, or the Knight of Wands. Beginning to understand how you do the things that you do, and the amount of work you put in, and what comes out of that. It's a newfound creation. It's a newfound ambition. But you're going to learn along the way. And I feel like when you do use your intuition and you do use patience, it's going to prevent a lot of avoidable consequences. But I feel like you're also going to see other things that are going on around you as well before you approach this closure. And therefore, it'll help you discern what to really say. I'm really feeling like, once again, like being very careful what you say, but in a sense of, you don't want to say too much because you want to stay on point, or you want, the 3, 2, whatever the case may be for you, what you want to address, but you want to stay on point and not, diverge off of the main points, and then it kind of turns into like a screaming match, and then the other party, and then even you don't know what the hell you were even meant to say, like to avoid confusion, there you go, of the main points. Because I feel like when you do address this, you're going to have to be very concise, and you're going to have to be very to the point. And it's going to have to be like very methodically thought out, and it's also going to have to be like black and white, no gray areas. But it's going to take some time to understand this. And I feel like, with Scorpio, or with water signs in general, there is a lot of gray area. But now it's time to embody a different type of energy and a different type of creativity to the point, or a different type of ambition or approach where, for for this purpose, there's no gray area, because with that gray area comes, comes yielding, comes giving in. And this was giving in before these 3 cards here. This was giving in. And I mean, things not moving in your favor. Things not changing. So now we must change the approach so we can change the outcome. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Okay, let's pull a Jesus card. Let's see what he has for you. Whatsoever you shall ask the Father in my name, he will give it to you. John 16:23. Okay, they want me to pull one from the top, and they also want me to pull one from the bottom here. So the first, or at the top, is knock and it shall be opened unto you, Matthew 7:7. And the last card here. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God, Matthew 5:9. So Scorpio, I feel like what your higher power is trying to tell you here. It's funny. It's ironic. I need to start getting in the habit of saying ironic. It's ironic that you just have to ask and know that it'll be there. And what's going to come out of this is finally, Scorpio, peace. And it's going to feel even 10 times better, Scorpio, because it's peace that you gave yourself. No one can take credit for it. And going back to the Queen of Cups, remember when she was pouring out the water, it's pouring out the bullshit. It's pouring out the things that need to be cleared in terms of emotion. Because that's when peace comes in, is when we're in full acceptance of what is and what isn't, and what we can, change and what we cannot change. And I feel like you're almost there. And it's almost there. But it's just going to take a little bit more. I feel like now, Scorpio, it's going to take more intuition. It's going to take more discernment and it's going to take more of you have to take a step back and look at everything for what it really is and be more concise. I'm really picking that up here. Don't, talk too much about one issue to the point where it goes all over the place and then it leads to other things. Like, just be very clear and be very black and white. I feel like that's what it's going to take, because that's how you've been feeling. Don't dilute the situation, don't dilute the situation for the other parties to take don't have concessions, unnecessary or unworthy concessions. Don't make them for the other party, especially if they don't deserve them, because now I feel like this is your moment and you need to say what the hell you need to say. But let's do it appropriately. Let's do it strategically, in the sense of when to do it, and also let's do it maturely, so that then that other party or the second party or the situation can then look at you and say, I can't be mad at Scorpio for that. Like, that was real talk and it came from a real place of discernment. And then I think the other party or the situation would then turn around and they'll look at you in a different light, because then you made the choice to be the peacemaker, because all you had to do is just ask for the strength and it's delivered, and knock on the door and say, I'm coming in and I'm going to say what I need to say. Okay, Scorpio, check out John 16, Matthew 7, and also Matthew 5. There'll be something in there for you. And also check the description box. There's a link there to book a private reading if you want to look at this a little bit deeper in terms of pertaining to your unique situation and maybe where to go from here. What to look out for possibly. We can look at all those areas, okay? All right, Scorpio. Remember to always let common sense prevail so you can show the other party how it's done. See ya.